Welcome back to the Anachroschism. When we left off last time, well, the party was in varying states. Karash was asleep. He's got a little bit too much to drink in him again, so he's in his room sleeping that off. Tessian is in his room, maybe sleeping, maybe not. The Shard was sort of headed in the direction of his room, but the other three party members instead have discovered something else going on. Specifically, they seem to have found a person who at least resembles Grail's brother's description, and he appears to have currently stabbed someone. So, as we pick back up, Isaac and Grail and Lena, as you guys were following the sound of what you heard, as far as you could tell, a person screaming, you rounded the corner into this alleyway and you saw a... we can describe this a little bit further. Go ahead and make a perception check, everybody, as we start.
I just need to start hanging out around Michaela all the time, because every time at night, she's like around and she witnesses something.
Mm-hmm.
Dunas trying to escape, a murder.
She's where all the storytelling happens. It turns out I'm just using her as...
point.
Yeah.
Wow!
She's like Aang.
I got a 12.
I got a 4!
Michaela's like Aang. Oh, I'm sorry, Ong.
Are you...
Get out
I just...
of this chat right now.
Disadvantage for the night. My God.
Oh, no.
What, is Sokka gonna show up now too?
I honestly don't know if there's a worse thing you could have said tonight.
A 9 perception.
Okay. The three of you are all kind of engrossed by what's happening. Grail in particular, you have sort of like tunnel vision here because A, this matches your apparent vision, as it were now, and not just like dream state or whatever, and B, you also know this individual, or you're pretty confident you do. The three of you do see, despite some pretty meh rolls, you do notice a couple of things from this distance as you're probably like 60, 70 feet away at this point as you round this corner, and you kind of like stop to look. You see that the man standing over the guy who's been killed has dirty, blonde, unkempt hair, kind of spills over his forehead a bit in a haphazard way. Day-old stubble, maybe a couple day-old, not a full beard, sort of Sean status essentially, where, you know, it's there, it's forming a beard, but it ain't all the way there yet. Even the back of his neck has some kind of like ragged hair on it. It just looks not unkempt, not like somebody who doesn't take care of himself, but like somebody who's been traveling and it might not have been a priority recently. Has on that same familiar Blades armor, light armor, dyed dark black. Also has on a black long sleeve shirt underneath that, so his entire upper body is essentially like dark. Dark brown pants, a number of pockets on both sides. You can see a set of daggers, at least 3 as far as you can tell from this distance, on his belt around his waist. And as you guys round the corner, he kind of hears the shuffling of your feet, because he's very perceptive. I rolled for it, actually. And he looks up in your direction, and for just a second, Grail, even with that 4, you see, like, it's your brother. Or at the very least, it's a damn good illusion of your brother, but there's not any mistaking the fact that this is the guy you've known for, you know, going on, let's see, 18 years at this point?
Mm-hmm.
And it's him. And he looks at you, and for just a half a second, you see this brief glimmer in what appear to be otherwise dispassionate eyes. He looks up. There's a spark of recognition, and then it immediately kind of goes back to poker face. What do you guys want to do?
So I see him, and my hand goes to my gun, like to draw it. But then I get like this recognition of what's happening. So my hand stays there, and I'm just looking at Grail.
Yeah, and I instantly kind of, since we all came out there together, I'm gonna kind of like put my hand out, almost like to stop whatever anyone might do, and I'm going to kind of like whisper yell his name, kind of just like Holden, like what the fuck are you doing? But I'm not gonna say that. I'm gonna say his name.
He kind of looks over you and he says, "Well, I reckon I shouldn't be surprised by this. Once I started hearing rumors about what happened at Cigar Cove, I had a feeling our paths would cross again sometime. What are you doing here?"
Well, the long and short of it, I'm looking for you.
And he kind of like looks down at this body slumped up against the wall in the alley next to him, looks up at you. He says, I know we've talked about this before. Trying to find me right now isn't necessarily the best idea. I don't know if you've noticed, but some things have been happening around these parts.
I have noticed, actually, quite a few things. Holden, what's going on? Can we talk about this?
I don't know that talking's necessarily the best idea right now. I have half a mind to be leaving these parts. I don't know if I had the time for a nice conversation, especially since you seem to have companions with you. I don't know.
And I kind of like gesture to Lena and to Isaac, and I'm like, they're my trusted friends. We've been looking for you together. I would really appreciate it if you would just take a second to stop and talk to me, please.
Make a persuasion check.
Okay. Oh, sorry. I have to close this really quick.
I kind of whisper to Lena, because I imagine I'm next to you now. I was running after you, were actually ahead. And I just whisper, like, I don't know that she had a plan for if she actually found him.
And I kind of shake my head, too.
I got a 16 on that roll.
He kind of hesitates for a second. He says, all right, time is short, but I do owe you at least a couple of answers. Ask away.
And I'm kind of shocked because I wasn't expecting that. I know he's very stubborn.
Grail, for what it's worth, you might not even be looking at me, so this might go over your
I'm
head.
not.
But I
I'm
do
not.
gesture to the guy on the fucking ground who's dead.
Yes. No, that is going to be one of my questions. Don't worry. So I'm going to look at the body on the ground, and kind of my eyes will go to the floor, back up to him, and I'm going to just say, what is this? Are you're killing people? What's going on?
Oh, I wouldn't think you'd be too surprised by that, big sis. I almost called you little sis. That's wrong. Big sis, I've been in the bounty game for some time, and this just happens to be my most recent target.
Killing people in the streets, sloppy.
Well, there's a bigger plan at work here, but sure, it might give that impression. The bigger question is, have I left any traces for them to catch me? Sure, they'll find his body, but that's kind of the intent.
And you're a Blades member now, I see.
Well, if you can't beat them, join them, right?
But why? They're thugs. They're no good.
I discovered that in my attempts to get revenge for what happened at the ranch, I couldn't make a whole lot of traction, so I'm trying a different approach.
But Holden, that's not... You're just making things worse for everybody. You're enabling more badness to enter the world by doing this. You're not getting revenge. Or maybe you are. Maybe that's what you really want. And that's going to make you happy. But I just see you going down a path that you can't return from, and I don't like it at all.
Well, I had a feeling you wouldn't approve, but I also can't say I care for the system that this world exists in. Trying to play by the rules wasn't getting me anywhere, so I figured, fuck the rules.
I mean, Holden, for what it's worth, my companions and myself are kind of in the same boat, to be honest. I mean, Isaac here, he doesn't abide by the rules either, but we're trying to go about things correctly, in a just way, and this is not, what you're doing is not it. I can say that with certainty.
I don't know if you can say anything for sure. It's been a few months since we last traveled together, and let's just say things have changed since the last time you remember them. But you know what? I recognize that we may not see eye to eye on this, and seeing as time is short, I don't really want to get into a debate with you about it. What else do you want to know?
Where are you going? What is your plan?
Well, I don't know that necessarily giving away my next location would be the best plan.
I'm not
if you
trying
intend...
to kill you, Holden.
I'm not worried
about you.
I'm not worried about you trying to kill me. I know you're capable. We traveled together long enough to know that I know you have some skill, but I also don't think you're my enemy by any means.
What are you scared of?
I'm not scared of a whole lot these days.
Uh-huh. Sure.
But you know
Little
what?
brother.
I mean, if you're intent on following me, we'll probably cross paths anyways, so I don't know why I would give you the head start of telling you where I'm headed next.
This is not a game of cat and mouse, Holden. I want to get you out of this. I want you to come home. I want you to travel with me. I don't want you to be leading thugs and killing for sport and for money. For these people who I don't even know who is this person. What's going on?
He says, well, as far as your first point goes, I mean, if I had my druthers, I wouldn't be doing this either, but that is something that we sort of agree on, in a sense. I don't necessarily think what I'm doing is right either, but I think what I'm doing is necessary. And I didn't want you to get caught up in this either. The things I've done now, I don't want you to be any part of. As far as this gentleman here, I bet you can probably find out for yourself. You're a resourceful girl, but let's just put it this way. He's somebody who had it coming.
Yeah, heard that one before. I know you've already started on this path with the blades, and I've heard that it's not very easy to get out. I would rather you join us. We're trustworthy people. We can do what we need to do on our terms. You could join us if you wanted to.
How do you think that goes, exactly? A
How
group
do you
that's
figure?
opposing the blades suddenly gets joined by an ex-blade? Probably
Yeah.
get hunted down, don't you think?
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think the blades are highly established kind of sort, but they're not. We'd be fine. We are fine. We've actually come across them and we've crossed paths in my search for you, and well, we've handled it, Holden.
That answer is exactly why I can't go with you. The blades on their surface, you're right. Seems like a relatively harmless group. Bunch of ragtag people thrown together. Petty crooks, thieves, people who are looking for some direction in life, some kind of misguided notion of what the world's about. There's a lot more to it than that. And to think that that dog has no bite is a serious misstep on your part.
I'm not saying no bite. I'm saying we can handle it. I'm also saying there are ways around this. I mean, you could alter your identity, something. We could protect you. I feel powerless here, and I want you to be safe, and I know you're not in this state. I want you to be with me. You're my little brother. I don't know what else to say.
I mean, I understand. I do. But you also know that I taught you some of the tricks you have at your disposal now. And you know how adept I am with a disguise kit. And if I thought some kind of simple disguise or new identity was enough to get me out of what I'm in now, maybe this would be a different story. But some of the people that are involved in this are way too astute to let something like that slide by them.
And I sigh, and I kind of look at my companions, and then I look back at Holden, and I say, so what does this mean? Does this mean goodbye? You're just going to leave again, and it's going to be this game of cat and mouse for God knows how long until one of us dies?
Cat and mouse, yes. God knows how long, no. We've got a plan. Might be a lousy one, but I have one. And if I can put it through its motions, a few months maybe. Just kind of need you to stay clear for a while until I finish this whirlwind I'm about to start kicking up.
Do you want... Okay. Could you share? Is there anything you could tell me?
Let's check in. Make another persuasion check.
Okay.
It's been long enough. The old one
It
no
has
longer
been.
applies.
Yeah. I don't have very good persuasion, so... I can't see it. What, is it bad?
It's a 4.
It's a 4! Good!
He kind of thinks about it for a second. He says, you know what, sis? The less you know, the better. It's the only
And
way
I
I can make
said-
sure you don't get involved.
But I am involved, Holden. Our paths keep crossing whether we want to or not. Honestly, we were not specifically searching for you in this particular town. We just happened to stumble upon you. We're going to, again. And I'm afraid of what I might find. And I feel like the more I know, the better.
I just don't agree with you. I'm sorry. But knowing that we are going to run into each other again, I would rather you just be as clueless as possible so that when somebody asks you what's happened, your answer can be an honest one. You say, no, I don't know what he's up to. Probably no good. It's a lot more simple that way than if you have information you're not supposed to.
I don't give a damn about simple. Have you talked to mom or dad at all?
No, I was going to ask you how they were.
Well, they're hanging in there. I send money home when I can. We haven't really been in touch lately. The last couple weeks have been a little hectic, to say the least. But sorry.
You invented one of those newfangled microwaves, I see.
Oh God. Yeah, sorry about that. I haven't told them about you. I don't think I should. They'll just worry more, and that's not worth it. And if you're not even going to tell me where you're going to be, I can't entrust them with this information either. And I hate lying to our parents.
It's probably for the best, though. It's part of why I haven't been home, to be honest, until I can find a way to set right what I did.
They miss you a lot.
I miss them, but until I can get them back to the way that they deserve to live, it's not an option for me. Besides, as long as I had this hanging over for me, they're at risk too.
And I kind of slowly nod because that actually does make a little bit of sense. And I kind of like my shoulders slump and I kind of I shrug and I say, you've always been stubborn as hell. Like the worst sheep, just the worst. And then I kind of like dig my foot into the ground and I'm just like, all right. I'm gonna trust you. I don't trust you right now. Whatever's going on, ding. Whatever's going on, it smells real bad, and that scent is tracking. Is all I have to say. And you can't be sloppy like this, or you're gonna get caught by someone who wants to snuff you and the blades out. You have enemies.
Oh, don't worry, sis. Again, this might seem sloppy, but there's a method to the madness. You know this isn't exactly a play in my playbook.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I'm sure of it, Holden. I worry, as you know. And then I take like a step back and I'm like, all right.
He starts to walk over in your direction. And as he approaches and closes the ground, he puts a hand on your shoulder.
Okay, I don't move.
And he says, look, you've always tried to do what's right by me, and I appreciate that. But you know I'm a bit of a screw-up. And there came a time in my life where I had to try to decide, what am I going to do with my life? How can I fix the mistakes of an idiotic youth? You know, sometimes in your life, things don't go as planned, and if the creek don't rise, you got to make the best you can out of what you got left. So for me, I'm going to do what I have to do. And there may come a time where I have to pay a price for what I've done too. I've accepted that. But I don't want you to get involved.
Look, mistakes were made, but I just feel like you're digging a deeper hole for yourself. I feel like if you stopped this and I could protect you, it could be better. And I am totally just stammering. I'm repeating myself, and I'm really just helplessly flailing about trying to get him to stay. I know he's stubborn though.
Well, that's the thing about holes, sis. The deeper you dig them, the more bodies you can fit in them.
I kind of laugh at the reference. I look at the dead body in the street again, and like, I wish there was another way. If there was, would you tell me? If there was anything I could do, would you tell me?
I would have come to you months ago if I thought there was another way. But once I was in this deep, I don't see another way out. You don't walk away from the blades.
You could though. You could just right now. You could do it. Hold it.
They already attacked the farm once. They know who I am. They know who you are. They know who Mom and Pa are. How do you think that goes if I disappear?
I don't know. All I know is that I want you safe, and you're anything but. And I hate this. I hate this, Holden. And you put yourself in this predicament, and I want to get you out. I've always wanted to protect you, and I know I can't, and I hate this.
Well, it's up to me to get myself out for once.
Do you think you can do it?
You kind of see, like, for the first time, he's been, cocky's the wrong word, but, like, sure of himself.
Mm-hmm.
There is this slight moment where he kind of hesitates, just ever so slightly, and he says, maybe not. I think I can, don't get me wrong. I think at the very least I'll bring this to a resolution that keeps the rest of you safe. I don't know if I make it out of it, but you know what? At a certain point, I'm not any good to run the ranch when they're gone. That's a position you're better suited for anyways. We don't have very many options ever since Cormac. I mean, what are we going to do? Somebody's got to be there to take care of what they've built for their whole lives. It ain't going to be me, but I can at least make sure their future is secure.
It could be both of us. I don't know why it has to be just you or just me. This is not an option, Holden. You not making it is not an option.
Well, I'm going to do the damnedest I can. I don't have any intent to up and die.
All right.
And he kind of like squeezes your shoulder. Kind of
And
gets
so
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Oh, I was going to say that at this point, I am getting emotional, and I reach up and I kind of like clasp his forearm.
Okay. He kind of like pulls you into a full hug. He gives
Oh, no!
He gives like a quick nod. He goes to like tip his hat. He's not wearing one currently, but he makes this gesture like he's reaching to like he sort of acknowledges Isaac and Lena just briefly. Makes eye contact with each of you real quick. He says, "Well, I imagine about any second now, City Guard is going to be here, so it's about time for me to skedaddle."
And my shoulders slump even further than they had been, and I let go of him, and I kind of step aside to let him leave, and I say, "I love you, little brother."
I love you too. I hope next time we meet it's under better circumstances.
Yeah, me too. Be safe.
Nothing safe about it, but I'll do what I can.
Good. Get the hell out of here.
And he starts to run off with surprising speed. Not like supernatural. Not supernatural, but he's able to kind of stick to the shadows in between streets and stuff. It's not super well lit this time of night. The city is relatively well lit, but he's finding this open patches, and he's heading, for the record, he is heading west as he leaves.
Okay. I stand in silence. I've turned to kind of like watch him leave. And I wait until I can't hear footsteps anymore. And then I turn to Lena and Isaac, and I'm like, he's gone. And I'm weirdly like almost in shock, like that this has even happened. And I almost like forgot that they were there until I turned around. And I'm quiet suddenly. I don't really seem to know what to do.
I'm gonna put my hand on her shoulder.
Dang it, I was going to do that.
You can do it too. And
She has two shoulders.
Now is not the place. Let's get back to the wagon and we'll talk about what just happened.
And I turn around and like kind of gesture at the dead body, and I'm like, do we just leave him here? Do we alert someone? I don't know what to do.
I'll trust that Holden knows what he was talking about when he said the city guard is on their way. If we care to find out who this is, we can do our investigation tomorrow. I'm sure it will be easy to ascertain this information.
Yeah, you're right. We should leave.
So I'm going to turn and carefully kind of like go, because we're in the alley. I'm going to kind of go to the edge of the alley and like kind of peer around the corner, make sure there's not like a horse and a buggy, police car
Paddy
sirens
wagons.
going on the way through. Yeah. And if it's clear, I'll beckon them to follow and just tell them to stick to the shadows.
Make a perception check.
I don't see the sirens.
You roll a natural 1. The horse and buggy run you over.
23.
Okay. You peek your head around the corner, just kind of look in both directions, make sure nobody's coming at this moment. It does seem to be clear. You do hear what sounds like hurried footsteps approaching, but not from your direction, from the opposite side.
Great.
And they do appear to be at least a little ways off it. They're audible and getting a little bit louder, but they're not right up on you.
So I'm going to gesture a little aggressively. Now, let's go.
Okay.
I'm gonna follow.
I will walk closely with Grail, but still keep up with everybody.
Okay. Heading back to the inn.
Yeah, I was going to say if we can go straight there, that's fine. If you want, I would probably go a couple blocks, a few blocks, and then maybe not feel the need to sneak around anymore. At some point, we start drawing more attention to ourselves for doing that than just walking like normal, far away from this body.
Okay. You guys kind of taking a slightly different route on the first part of the way back, and then as things seem to be clear, you don't really hear any other commotion, everything else seems to be doing okay, you take a more direct approach, and you make it back to the moment of Zin, and everything there appears to be as you left it. There's a fewer people in the downstairs area, but even now that we're approaching probably like 2 o'clock in the morning, there's still a pretty lively scene on the first floor.
Just really quick, for what it's worth, I would go straight into I would walk to the wagon, probably not say a whole lot, and lift up the back and go in there. I wouldn't want to go straight into the place, especially because I'm not sleeping in there. I don't think Lena is, and I don't
I'm
know.
outside.
I think Grail has a room, but
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, she should have a key. I believe Tessine gave her one,
yeah.
Okay, so that's what you see, Grail. The other two hop on the wagon.
Okay, I guess I go in by myself.
I
Before I want to
walk in
stop. What are you doing?
I would gesture to you to join us
Okay.
and not just go inside. It's
Yeah.
best we don't talk about this. Awkward. No, I would not do that.
Weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if we're in there, I would kind of gesture to Lena, but I would say I don't really know where to start. Grail, I don't even know what to ask. How you feeling? I have an idea.
I don't know what he's up to, but it's bad. It's all bad, and I want to trust him. I really do. But historically, he hasn't been a very trustworthy person. And I'm worried. And I saw that look in his eye. There's some fear there. He was trying to hide it, but I saw it, and that scares me more than anything. He knows what he's getting into, and he's still doing it anyway. He's always been hard on himself for what happened to my mom and pa, and now what do? I mean, I've been hunting him down, and then I see him, and now he's gone, and he wants me to stay away. I almost feel grateful that I have you guys so that I can focus on something else. And I kind of look at Lena and I kind of nod, and I'm like, maybe this Conatus idea is better than I could have ever imagined. I don't know how I'm going to keep my mind off of Holden, but maybe it's for the best, at least for now.
What happened before you? I don't know that Lena knows, and if you're comfortable sharing, I will say I myself don't mind hearing it again, because I had a certain perception of Holden, and I have to admit I was surprised to finally meet him. He is not what I expected.
He has always been a little adrift. He never really fit in with my family. We led a very simple life on our ranch, and I had an older brother. His name was Cormac, and he was very much suited for the rural life, and he died, unfortunately. Once that happened, there was pressure on myself and on Holden to step things up, to be more supportive of our parents who are aging, to take on the responsibilities on the ranch. And for me, I mean, it seemed like a no-brainer. It was something I was born to do, and I'd been doing it since I was a child. But Holden, it never really stuck. And he got antsy. He got bored. He would go to the nearby town, Timberbrook, and talk to people, and he just picked up certain things. He acquired new friends, and he was there less and less and less at the ranch. I learned that he had made buddies with this thieves guild, and he was in a bad place, in a bad sort. He owed them money, something. I actually don't know all the specifics. He has not told me. But he ended up coming home one night because he was in a bad place and he was looking for somewhere to hide, and he was followed. I had a vision, well, I guess it was technically my first vision, of the ranch burning down, and I woke up with a start and I was sweating, and I dismissed it. I didn't think anything of it. I'd never had dreams of that sort before. But when he came home, I was happy to see him. My God, it had been a long time. And when he would come home, he would teach me some of the tricks of the trade. And so I was happy, but they followed him and they burned the ranch down almost entirely. And he blames himself, of course, because honestly, it was his fault. Absolutely. But mistakes happen. He was like 16 at the time. I mean, God. I mean, everyone makes mistakes at that age. We're all shitty. So that's what happened. He blames himself. He left and he promised he would have his revenge. And that's what he's doing, I guess, by joining the Blades, which feels to me hypocritical. But who am I to say? I don't know.
So as you're like talking, I'm sitting in the back of the wagon and I'm kind of just like looking out. I'm not looking at you because I've like heard the story before and I'm kind of keeping watch. And when you're done talking, I kind of look at Lena and I say, now you know where Grail comes from and what's going on with Holden.
Grail, first of all, I'm so sorry to hear that. I had no idea that everything was so complex with Holden. I was under the impression that you were searching for him, but not quite for those reasons and with that much of a story behind it. And I'm so sorry. I don't know what to say. I'm grateful that you could tell me, though. I appreciate that.
I kind of smile at Lena and say, I trust you. I know that I can trust you with this information, so thank you for listening.
Well, Grail, where do you want to go from here?
It's frustrating because we've crossed paths so frequently, but he wants me to stay away. I just feel like it's impossible and that it's a fool's errand to try. So he said a couple months, and I think I can give him that. But if things start going south, I'm gonna have to go and find him and take him and do something about it. So, but in the meantime, and I kind of like, you can tell that I'm trying to steel myself. Like I'm trying to be positive, even though I feel very adrift myself. I just say, I'm going to let him do what he needs to do. And if we cross paths again, then so be it. But maybe he's right. Maybe the less I know, the better.
Well, if we cross paths with him again, just let us know. We're ready to support you in any way, even if that means making him join us against his will. We will do whatever you need us to do.
I appreciate it. I truly do. I don't know what I would do without you guys. And at this point, I feel very, very exhausted emotionally. And I kind of like shut my eyes and do this whole number. And I say, I don't know how I'm going to get any sleep. This shook me to my very core, but I feel like I need to get some rest or at least attempt to do something.
Try to get some rest, and I feel like I'm always telling you to take solace in one thing or another, but you didn't seem like a man who was killing for pleasure and had just lost his way. He seems to have a plan, and it may be a misguided plan, but there's more to it than it seems, and it appears complicated, and I think that's a good thing. I think you try to find some comfort in the fact that he doesn't seem completely lost.
I do take comfort in that. When I had that vision of him standing over a body, I was terrified that that's exactly what had happened. And I don't know who that guy was. I have no idea. He could have been the nicest man. But if he had a bounty on his head and he's simply doing, bounty business, who am I to judge? So I would like to know who that guy is in the morning if we can, and I will take solace in the fact that I think he's trying to do right by someone at his own expense, possibly, and I hate to even consider that, but that it is comforting, yes.
Well, get some rest.
All right, I'll try. And then I leave the wagon. And then I go into the inn.
And inside, you see the first floor scene is... Yeah.
Which, are we following Grail, or are we sticking in the... Where's the camera, Chris?
I don't know. Which group would you like to follow first?
I have something to say to Kayla, but...
Yeah, then you should.
It's more than you bargained for tonight, I would say.
Yes. Just a bit.
There's been a whole lot of that lately, to be fair.
True.
How are you doing with all of this? It wasn't your brother, but you've told me you feel a certain sense of responsibility, so how are you feeling?
It's a lot on... I'm glad we found him, for Grail's sake. I wish we could have done more.
I thought about it, but I didn't feel comfortable. I felt like it was something she needed to take the lead on.
I do agree with that. It wouldn't have been appropriate, especially since we didn't know what he was going to do at the time. But it's been a lot these last few days. I've had much to think about. This just being one more thing of many.
Well, I know I'm not the first person you think of when you want to bounce ideas off of someone, but I am here. In the meantime, along the lines of letting Grail take the lead, I think it prudent that we keep this between ourselves, and when she's ready to tell the rest of the group, she can do it on her terms.
Agreed.
All right, well, I guess I'm going to try to get some rest.
Yes, you should do that. It's getting late.
And instead of then going to sleep, I just kind of turn and look out of the wagon again and just very deep in thought. And
I'll kind of look with you a little bit, kind of see if I can kind of see what you're looking at and which direction, but eventually I'll probably go into my trance thing.
Okay. Inside Grail, the still somewhat lively, but certainly dying down as we get into the wee hours of the morning scene. You look around the bottom floor, and none of your other companions are still there.
The shard's gone. Okay. And Tessian's gone.
I believe he is, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
you hear banging.
Yeah,
from
Shard's
the
gone.
upstairs.
Tessian's gone, and you already know Karash was not there. He was already in the process of leaving when you left, so...
Right. All right. I'm going to kind of acknowledge the barkeep. It's kind of like a nod in my head as I go up the stairs, and I am gonna try and open. I don't know which room is mine. Door number 1, door number 2. So yeah, I'm gonna try and open one of the rooms.
It takes a couple of attempts. You are adept with the locking and unlocking of doors, both through regular channels and the irregular ones. So you're able to pretty quietly kind of go and be like, all right, is this the key? It's not turning. You're like, oh, shit. I don't know. This one? No, it's the third time's the charm. And you open it up into a room with 2 beds in it, of which you only need the one, but...
No, I need both. I'm going to drag the other one over to No, I'm not going to do that. All right, yeah, then I'm going to lock the door behind me and collapse on the bed and go to sleep.
Okay.
Or try.
So everyone has turned in for the night, Shard as well.
Is there anything interesting around the room?
Inside each of the rooms, you have a couple of beds, a couple of potted plants, a writing desk with a nice chair in front of it. But there's not a whole lot that sticks out. In fact, it seems like it's almost a little sparser as far as things inside of it than you might expect. And you kind of think, well, It's also an inn where a lot of people come in and out, so they're not going to leave a ton of things that people might try and pocket, or less reputable folk might try and take the monogrammed towels out when they leave the place. So nothing in particular really like sticks out like, oh, this is different. It's nice furniture, it's nice sheets and stuff. Like it's a relatively upscale establishment, but nothing in particular really sticks out about the room.
He's in the room with Karash.
Yeah. Jason's in the other room, and you're in the third room.
Okay.
And Lena and Isaac are outside.
Yes.
So I will sit down on the bed and cast Detect Magic.
The source feels ever so slightly weaker than it did before, perhaps because he's lost to the world with consciousness. It does still direct you in the direction of Karash.
I'll lay down and go to sleep.
All right, so with everyone turned in for the night, Grail, I need you to make a wisdom saving throw.
Okie doke, I knew that was
Karash, I need you to make a wisdom saving throw.
Okay. Lena, now's your chance. Isaac is asleep and out of the room. Do something to his body.
I got a 5.
Break
I got
his
a 5,
neck.
Chris.
So is our
18.
wagon a covered wagon or not?
Oh, we're gonna get to that. Don't worry. What was that, Mike? So I'm sorry. 18? Did I hear that right?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, I was reading. I was like, I heard a number like 15 seconds ago. Hold on.
11 billion.
Okay. Grail, it is a troubled sleep. A lot of tossing and turning, very little REM cycles, very lightly asleep, then awake, lost in thought. No visions. If anything, you're almost frustrated in the sense of you wish for something that would help pass the time. You're restless, it's hard to sleep. You kind of want morning to come just to get your mind off of it. It doesn't come quickly. You can't sleep through it. It's tough. You get just enough sleep out of it to avoid exhaustion because that would be mean, but no dreams or visions or otherwise, at least on this particular evening. Karash. Morning comes, and with it, you return to consciousness having had no vision from Cord. In fact, you slept completely through the whole night. You were out like a light, so you got 9 hours of wonderful, restful, slightly hungover sleep. But it does not appear to have repeated the results from last time.
Karash is surprised. I am not.
Tessian, you wake up the next morning, and what happens in that room is up to you. We talked about it some off air. Shard, you wake the next morning, and things are about as you'd expect. Karash is in the room. He appears to be conscious, so he's not dead, so that's a good sign for you. Lena and Isaac. Lena, go ahead and make a perception check.
Okie dokie.
I don't remember if you actually get those with regular or not in that transform. Shit. La la la.
Should I wait?
Well, you can roll the first one.
Okay.
I like to think there's just a bird on you in the morning. You're just outside. You're just what is this? There's a pigeon. It's just sitting on you.
I kind of love it.
She's the Disney princess.
I am the
Yes.
Disney princess. Except I'm not as sing-songy as they are.
I play a character that has the same feature, and I don't remember how it works. Then again, I've only played that character 3 times, to be fair. So yeah, I would say with disadvantage. You can still make it though, whereas a lot of people would not be able to.
Wait, disadvantage?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll just roll one more time and
Yeah.
then take the lower.
Yep.
Okay. 10.
Okay. You guys outside in the cart actually sleep decently well, especially because it was a long day and you're pretty tired. And while you have a lot going through your heads respectively, sleep still kind of takes you. Lena, as you're kind of emerging from this trance state, you feel like there's somebody there, and you're like,
Okay.
And as you awaken, there are a couple of members of the town guard outside the wagon, kind of looking in your guys' direction, looking a little confused as to why you're there.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to kind of give them a little friendly wave and greet them. Good morning. What can I do for you?
You had a perfectly good inn. You guys are sleeping outside, huh?
Yes. Well, I prefer to be outside myself, see the stars.
I suppose you're not from around these parts.
No, traveling around a bit the last few weeks. Few months, really, but...
Well, at Harnstead, we try to be as welcoming as possible, but do keep in mind that there's a curfew in the town, and a lot of times we like to think that's for good reason. And I would say that you were probably pretty lucky, because somebody was murdered last night. So just, if you're going to sleep outside, maybe don't in the future.
Right, and I'm definitely going to be feigning surprise, like, oh my, like, what a horrific accident. And then I'll say, thank you for the warning, of course. We will keep that curfew in mind in the future.
Am I awake?
Is not aware.
From the talking now at this point?
Yes.
Okay. Someone was murdered, you say. Who? How? What happened?
Well, we got tipped off that there was an incident not too far from here, actually. And, oh God, where the hell is his name? I have it right here. That's the first name. Son of a bitch. What have I done to myself? There it is.
His name is Son of a Bitch.
Yeah. It was a man by the name of Barivor Fullcross. Relatively well-off gentleman who lives in the city. Don't know a ton about him myself. We're kind of looking into what happened, and the crusade is involved as well. There was somebody who was posted here who was looking into things a bit, but it's a person we'd seen around town a bit. I think he was doing it pretty well for himself, like a relatively affluent gentleman. I mean, wealth's not too hard to come by in this town, but he seemed to be doing pretty well.
You're sure he was murdered? I only ask because where I'm from, one time a elderly man tripped and fell onto a pipe sticking out of the road. It's a freak accident.
Well, that's the leading theory anyways. Couldn't say too much about it. It's not really my place. And also the investigation's ongoing, but seems to be what the prominent theory is at this particular hour.
Oh, wow. We were
Quite
just
a way to
sleeping
wake up.
We had no... Not good sleeping outside, really, truly.
Yes, I need to clearly not do that again.
Yes. So it's a soft curfew. We don't really enforce it too stringently, but we like to have people stay off the streets at night, and apparently for good reason. So just in the future, try not to have a repeat of this, please.
Of course. Thank you very much.
He has no attachment to the Duchess, does he? We're actually sort of out on official business of hers.
And his look towards you kind of changes over the course of that very sentence from one of like, why is this guy asking so many questions, to interest in the the Duchess. And he's like, no, as far as we know, at least yet, the Duchess knew him, but they didn't have a lot of association, no.
Okay, I'm just curious. I don't want to take your time. Thank you for letting us know.
Yes, well, have a good day.
Thank you. You as well.
And
Good luck with the investigation.
And they head off in the direction of the scene from last night.